Philion's channel has been striked for promoting gambling involving a video that specifically speaks out against gambling. So this isn't the first time this has happened, but there are some key differences from when it has happened before. And I'm sure that this happens daily to smaller creators or anybody that's below like 50,000 subscribers or even more. We usually see larger creators have a leeway when it comes to copyright claims or any of these issues that arise from when you're just like a smaller creator, right? Like including a clip from a TV show or a movie or something like that. Usually for smaller creators, that instantly gets you striked and copyright claimed. But for larger creators, they usually have some buffer and a contract involved, and it's usually a more thoughtful process. So Philion stands at around, I think, 700,000 subscribers, somewhere around that, and a large majority of his videos are geared towards the fitness community, right? Pointing out natty or not. And this is in reference to a lot of Instagram influencers or bodybuilders that claim a natural status with their physiques when in reality they have probably had used some performance enhancing drug or something of that sort that has helped them achieve these unnatural appearances or whatnot. And Philion usually breaks it down, explains why he feels that they are natty or why they feel that they're not. And I like to believe that most people can actually tell this apart just naturally by looking at them, that this glowed up inflated Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans is obviously not natural and there's something else going on there, you know? I like to believe that most people think that. So Philion usually points out the absurdity of the claims, gives his reasoning why, and kind of mixes in a bit of his own humor, which is quite fucking funny if I have to say so myself. Lately, he's been diversifying his portfolio of videos, covering just a wide variety of ridiculous shit. The absurdity of gamer houses, or I guess influencer houses. Those really rich people that tell you how they got rich and completely leave out the fact that they, use dad's money or something like that, right? But as of recently, he's branched out to a more documentary style of content, and it's well researched. It's obviously taken a lot of effort, editing, that shit's not done quickly. It takes time, right? It takes a lot more time and effort than, say, this video right now. So the issue arose when Philion uploaded a video about gambling. For those of you that don't know, whenever you saunter over to Twitch, you'll always see some streamers in the gambling category. They're gambling on a website, they're making money from it, and they're usually promoting it to their stream, right? That's it. The site pays them money in order to use their site while streaming, so that obviously they can reach a large audience of people that are like, hey, this guy just won $12 million, why can't I? So the site pays them to continually bet, which is kind of like this roundabout method. Everybody's arguing to completely compress the issue. A lot of people are arguing the morality of pushing gambling on your audience, especially when they are considerably younger. So Philion makes a video explaining this and basically documenting about how this goes down, when it goes down. It's very just information, right? So Philion's video gets striked and taken down by YouTube for promoting gambling. The videos that Philion clipped for the video are still up on YouTube and have not been striked or anything like that. YouTube's response in these scenarios almost seems to be auto-generated, at least to me, right? It always seems like they say the same exact thing, which is something along the lines of, we have reviewed it and found that it is in fact in violation of our content policy, and it is our decision stands, right? That's usually what they say. But the question is, did YouTube actually review the video? Now, Philion, again, sits at around 700,000 subscribers and is by no means a small creator. But what I'm going to bring up is specifically Charlie, or otherwise known as Moist Critical or Penguinz0, whatever the fuck. He has amassed over 10 million subscribers, but when this specific incident occurred, I believe he was at around 5 million, okay? Still a very large YouTuber and completely influential and one of the big guns, right? But in September of 2020, Charlie posted a video reacting to these mascots fighting, and it was a staged fight, right? It was very obviously fake. It was staged. YouTube proceeds to flag the video and strike Charlie and take down the video, right? Now, when Charlie initially complained about this, YouTube confirmed that someone did in fact review the video and found it to be in violation of their policy. Okay, so YouTube said a real person looked at the video. Charlie then goes out to point out that Markiplier, another massive creator on the platform with around 30 million subscribers, had reacted to the exact same video, the exact same clip, and his video was still up. Now, this wasn't Charlie pointing out that, hey, this guy has it up, why isn't mine up? It was more along the lines of pointing out that YouTube was being a little biased here, right? They only striked his video, but they didn't strike Mark's video. Markiplier responded to this, saying that fair is fair. YouTube, where's my strike? YouTube would then go on to strike Markiplier's channel and take down his video too. This would not last very long though. So not long after Charlie complained about why YouTube would want to die on this hill, YouTube actually appeared to have someone manually review the videos. And YouTube, basically for the first time since I've ever seen it, admitted they were wrong and put both videos back up and removed both strikes. There's something to point out between these two creators, and it's the fact that they are both massive, they're influential, they have hundreds of thousands of fans that all complained at YouTube. They had a bunch of other creators stepping in and pointing it out, right? There was a lot of fuss about this when it happened, okay? YouTube was getting pressured because of their decision. And another incident that happened with Jim Can't Swim, the otherwise known as JCS criminal psychology channel, they posted the video, What Crazy Looks Like. And I believe within like the first couple days, this video was around 20 million views, right? And it currently stands at like 60 million. Now, between like 30 and 40 million, YouTube flagged this video for sensitive events and violence, right? And once again, we saw YouTube's typical back and forth where they basically said, you know, our decision kind of stands and that's just the way it's going to be. We hope to work it out with you. But once again, we see a bunch of massive creators, and a lot of these creators were Twitch streamers that would watch the JCS videos on their stream and basically promoted the channel a bunch. A lot of these creators basically stood up and said, this is bullshit. This shouldn't be taken down. What's the deal with this? And it only really seemed once JCS considered moving platforms to finding an alternative for YouTube because they couldn't create videos anymore without them being flagged, that YouTube overturned their decision, put the video back up, removed the strike or whatever, and everything was hunky-dory. So this is obviously just an example of YouTube playing favorites. And unfortunately for that, there isn't much that can be done about this, right? Because YouTube is going to obviously pander to influential people, massive creators, people with millions of subscribers, millions of views. They really only care about keeping them on the platform and keeping them making content because that makes YouTube money, right? It's a very synergetic, parasitical, what is it called? It's a very symbiotic relationship, right? It's a disease. They rarely bend the knee to smaller creators or actually review the videos that have been flagged for whatever reason, right? You could include some clip that's completely out of context and they'll flag it for promoting violence or whatever, you know. Someone would point out that they would have to get manually reviewed for talking about wars and terror or something like that. So basically, if you discuss anything that is controversial to any extent, YouTube will flag the video, take it down, and manually review it, which usually it doesn't seem like they actually manually review anything. It should obviously be noted that I think a lot of these large creators are a part of something called like the silver partner, some shit like that, right? Where they at about 100,000 subscribers, if YouTube chooses, you get like a manager assigned to you that helps you with copyright strikes, false claims, all this stuff, right? I don't know if Philion has one of those, but if he does, that should probably be the first person that he reaches out to, right? So Philion's attempting to get this decision revoked, and I think, honestly, I don't think YouTube's going to bend the knee on this one at all. I think YouTube is once again deciding to die on the hill for this. Unless Philion gets enough star power on his side, it's unlikely that YouTube's going to budge on this decision, right? Because to them, they probably didn't manually review it. They probably don't really like him, and they just decided, okay, this video is promoting gambling because he says the site from which the gambling is on. It also behooves me to point out that YouTube does allow a lot of controversial content on their platform, specifically like to bring it back to a fitness example of, since Philion primarily used to be a fitness commentator, a lot of these former bodybuilders or Instagram influencers talk about how they use performance enhancing drugs, usually urging people not to use them for various reasons. This is pretty much the same thing, right? They're still talking about using drugs and mentioning the names of drugs, which At least if we're going to use YouTube's logic system. If you tell people not to do drugs while telling them what drugs not to do, you're promoting drugs to people. Given that both Charlie and Markiplier also received the exact same treatment, and it didn't really seem like YouTube was ever going to back down on it, I don't know what could possibly sway their decision. For the time being, all you can really do is maybe go to one of Philion's tweets where he's been trying to talk to YouTube and they just keep shutting him down with the same stuff they gave these other guys, just without the actual review. Or you could go to the YouTube video that he put out talking about this. I'll put both links down below. I just think it's kind of fucked up that YouTube does it to someone that's very big on their platform and just seems completely unhelpful.